All right, so everybody, looks like we are recording now. All right, so what I want to share with you is, I did mention before I have been to Michael when we first started, I've been stepping up my background game. And what I really wanted to share with you just before we started today is a little bit of a tradition we're getting better at doing in Australia. And I know with my Kiwi friend here, Michael, I know whenever you greet someone, do you want to share what New Zealanders, what's the phrase New Zealanders use when they greet one another?
We've used kia ora, which
Kia ora.
is good health. Yes.
Good health in Maori, and often in Australia now, whenever we have a formal gathering, a formal meeting, we'll often acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands in which we speak. So I'm coming to you from Australia right now, and the traditional custodians of the land that I'm speaking on are the Darug people. And what I've actually got is one of my brothers has been out in the desert. He's an artist, Indigenous artist, and I've got from him a collection here, not a cup, but some of that beautiful red earth that is from the desert lands of Australia. And I might just turn my background off so you can see that a little bit easier. Just bear with me for a moment. And so what I'd like to sort of share with you is this little piece of land. Now, in the Indigenous flag, we've got two distinct sections: a black section and a red section with a large yellow circle in the middle. Now, that red section is that heart, that desert heart of Australia, that red earth, that red heart of Australia. And so what I've got with us and what I've been starting to do is just at the start of my sessions, just sharing a little bit of this red soil, actually being able to run my fingers through the distinctive red soil of the lands in which I live, and acknowledge the First Nations people. And today I want to acknowledge all the lands of the people in which we all come to meet. And really, we're keeping alive a lot of their traditions today. Very much in First Nations culture, there was an oral tradition of passing along different information, passing knowledge from one person to another in gatherings, in meetings, and very much we're using technology to actually keep that traditional sense alive. So welcome everybody. I hope today we can keep that spirit of collegiality, keep that spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood as we share our knowledge. Today's session is all about sway. I've called it All the Way with Sway, and I was talking just prior to the starting of this recording, and I want to explain now. So my name is Brett Salakas, coming to you from Sydney, Australia, and I have picked sway today to share with you because from a pedagogical sense, I think sway is a very, very simple, powerful tool. In many ways, it's actually like a real secret weapon. If you have a short period of time, if you have a set period of time that you want to have students create an online piece of work, you want them to publish something online, sway is in many ways the best way to do that for this one single reason. And it's this one reason, that's why everyone here will go out and say, do you know what, here's a tool that you should use. Say, for example, you've got 4 periods of time and you want to do 4 set periods, 4 set lessons on a particular topic. You want the students to do a little bit of learning, direct instruction from you. You want them to do a little bit of their own research, and then you want them to present what they find. If you usually set that up with your students, particularly in an online environment, they'll, with all the best of intentions, they'll start the work, but they'll be focused on that end product. And they will spend 80% of their time making the nice, fancy product, and 20% of the time maybe listening to you a little bit, getting some facts, and putting in some minimal facts, but making things look really whiz-bang. All the bells and whistles, it look fantastic, but the depth of content might not be as rich as what the teacher would have initially wanted. This is why I love sway, this simple reason. you do all of the work. Sway converts like almost instantly your work into a simple, actionable, working, functional, quite aesthetically pleasing website that you've got a URL for that you can just grab and share. So instead of spending a whole heap of time designing something to make it look fantastic, the kids only need a very short piece of time to actually then create something. So the bulk of your time with them can actually be spent on that powerful pedagogy, on that actually deep, rich learning, and then they just need that little 20% or 10% even, just actually making it look nice. So you could do something as simple as actually, and I'll show you how to do this today. If you've got a really, really basic, just even a Word document, if you literally just they've done nothing else but a Word document, you can actually insert a Word document into Sway. Sway's AI will actually pick up the different sections and then make a fully functional, interactive sort of a page for you. Just literally at the click of the button. It'll take like a few seconds to make from a Word document to a functioning web page. Literally seconds. Or you could just basically set up this little card system where you've got your content and you just insert the content into the cards, and the kids can design, add some pictures, make it look pretty, get the right color palette that you want, and then make it look a little bit nicer. Maybe it takes 20 minutes, half an hour. But really what we've done is we've compressed, Sway compresses the amount of time needed for design and enhances the amount of time that you have to actually produce the quality learning. So, Michael, are you able to share with us how you have used Sway? Before I get into sort of my 9 tips and tricks, do you want to share with us how you've used Sway with your students?
Yes, I can. Just a quick kia ora and pepeha. So in New Zealand, we do traditional Maori, the Indigenous people. You have to kind of sit where you are in terms of your location geographically and culturally. So I'll just do a quick one. They can drag on for about half an hour. Mine won't. So yeah, ko moanga te tarangi, ko awa tūranganui a kiwa, ko marae a manatoki, ko iwi tako Ngāti Pakeha, ko Michael tako ingoa. Which is basically, I'm from Gisborne on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand. My mountain is Te Tarangi. The place where I was raised is Tūranganui Akiwa, the bay, or Poverty Bay as it was known. And it's just a way we centre ourselves in the land. Yeah, so that's that out of the way. So in terms of how I use Sway, I'm just going to highlight it in 3 ways. So the first thing I've done, as Brett mentioned, I've converted all my PowerPoints to Sways, because the advantage is it's able to be accessed on phones, because a lot of kids don't necessarily have devices like computers or Chromebooks. So it just means that they can actually access it 24/7 because they're all on their phones, as we're all well aware. The other advantage as a science teacher is that I can add extra functionality to the Sway. So for FETs, for example, which are little experiments, so the students can actually test their understanding of the science by doing little experiments. And the third way is, because again I'm a science teacher, it's student portfolios. The ability of students to embed like methods, do little videos which can be linked to Flipgrid videos or doing embedding little YouTube videos, and also they can, that just creates a range of different ways to present the knowledge, because not all students like to write written examinations, and so it's just different pathways to assessment as well. And I think it also becomes more an authentic form of assessment. So those are the 3 main ways that I'm now using Sway in the classroom. And just to add an extra add to that, I will then put it onto a giant wakelet, in which means that every topic has all the resources, all the student responses, and it's all in one place for the students to access when it comes time for further assessment. And for me next year as well, so I can reuse it. Yeah. Cool.
That's it. Nice practical tips. I'm starting to use the term learning artifact more and more often, and I guess that's what you were saying there with that assessment piece there. It's a way, both formative and summative, I guess, depending on what time frame or when in the timeline the teacher intercedes to work with the student. But when they're building up this body of work, you can actually come in and then help shift them, and then they've created like a beautiful digital summary of their learning for whatever period of time. And it's there as a resource that you can share with parents, which is always a good example at the click of a button, because you get that URL. And then, as you said in your Wakelet, and I'm not going to give away one of my secrets until I get up to that point in my presentation, but I do a similar thing to make marking really easy as well. So I'll share that in a moment too. So what I'm going to do, I got a little bit Inception style, and rather than have a PowerPoint to go through or a presentation, I built a sway to put inside my presentations for Sway, and I've even got some sways embedded in that sway. So I've got some sways inside the sway inside this presentation on Sway. So I will share that with you now. I've been waiting about 2 weeks to be able to say that line, by the way. So it's let me just share here. Okay. Oops. All right, all the way with Sway. So once you've built your Sway, this is my finished sort of Sway that I'm going to use with you. I can either share directly my Sway here, or I can sort of play it and just see what it would look like if I have given you the URL link. Now, if you would like to play along and have a look, I've made a personalized URL for this. So if you just go to salakas.me/sway, so that's SALAKAS, my name, salakas.me/sway, I've actually got a link to this Sway. So if you want to use that for your reference, or if you want to share that off with anyone, I'll put that in the chat when I finish sharing my screen. But all the way with Sway. So why use Sway? Like I said, Sway is really, really crazy easy to use. Like, I'm talking crazy easy to use, very, very fast way for students to be able to publish their work, meaning more time is spent on the quality of the content and less time spent on the publishing process. So why use Sway? Well, like I said, Sway is cloud-based. So you get this URL, means teachers can collect large pieces of work. So as we were just saying, like for example, those learning artifacts, without much fuss, you can share a link with parents. You can keep the artifact of the child. You can actually meet with them halfway in the process. So you get to actually say, well, have you thought about this? Would you like to add this? Could you improve on this? And what I have done here, so I'm just going through my Sway, so just scrolling up, it literally functions just like a normal, a normal web page. And here I have 9 tips to help you as an educator get the most out of Sway. So tip 1, turning Word into a fancy website really fast. It auto creates Sway for you. Tip 2, making marking easy. Tip 3, Creative Commons images. So actually helps you model good copyright practice. And just for the Americans joining, this is how we really spell practice. The verb is with an S. Tip 4, very cool way to display various images. Super easy to embed things. You can embed your PowerPoint videos. You can embed YouTube. I quite like when you can embed a map. If you're making an information report, how often, if you're doing anything geography based, do you say, let's include a map as a diagram? Well, you could do an information report here, and you can use the Google Maps. You just get the iframe from the embed code for the Google map, or the place that you want, and then embed it in here with that code, and then you actually get a functioning map that kids can zoom in and zoom out of. The Inception concept that I've talked about, ensuring everyone can learn. So Microsoft is pretty big on accessibility, and Sway is is certainly no exception. There's some nice accessibility options built in, and Dr. Michael has already mentioned device versatility. So we know that children use a variety of devices, and the best part, because it's cloud-based, any device can use this. So it gives a lot more versatility to your teaching. So turning a Word file into a fancy website. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Sway right now and show you literally how fast it takes to make a Sway. So here I've got like links to a whole bunch of various Sways that I've used. You can get your analytics, so you can grab your templates. Normally I would create a new one, but today I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to start from a document. So I'm just going to grab a Word document that happens to be on my desktop, 2009 workplace learning schedule. That will do it. Got a work experience, and it'll only take a moment, and it will pick up the Word document. It'll pick up the tables. It will sort them into these different cards and different clusters. So you can see here, I've got various things here. It's automatically broken up into different sections for me. I'll just play that so you can see what it looks like. And I've got now that Word document has actually turned into a fully functioning website, web link. Bits what to do. I literally can then just now click share. I've got that. I've now actually have a sharing option. I can embed it in different places if I want to put it on. If I've got like a class Weebly or whatever I've got for my class, I can link it in there. So it's dead set that easy to turn Word. What did that take? Like less than a moment, less than a minute, less than a moment. Probably took a moment if that's a standard unit of measure, but less than a minute to actually convert a Word document, a simple file like that, to an actually functioning website that's a learning artifact. So if you, as a teacher, are not super skilled at making Word web-based documents, but want to, Sway actually could be your way in to be able to do that. If you're more comfortable building up your Word doc, then you can just just import it there into Sway. Bang, you've got your actual live web-based web document, and share the URL straight to your students. If you've got a learning management system, whatever that might be, you can put it in there, or you email it to your students, or however you function. Make marking easy. This is a little bit as you were talking, Michael, earlier about how you have it on a Wakelet. I simply share with my kids, with my students, a web-based document, and that has a table in it. Have the name up the top of whatever topic we happen to be doing. They put their name on one side. They put their Sway links down the other. And then when I come to market, I only have to go to the one document, and every student is in one place. I've just click link, and I can go through. It makes marking a lot more easier. I'm not going off to multiple different sites. And what's best is I can see here there's 4 students in my class here, and last kid has not completed the task yet because they haven't put their Sway in. So I can email last kid and say, hey, last kid, why are you always the last kid to do your work? But makes it nice and easy for me to be able to track what student has done what. And you can see here, even with accessibility as well, because of the way that Sway is set up, it's got alt text automatically, because I've got this as an image embedded in. You just say what the alt text is, the caption, the name of the image, and the text will come up. My tip number 3 is that Creative Commons is the natural platform in which Sway gets its images. You can actually turn it off, but it's a very, very good way to model appropriate copyright practice. So if I'm in Sway and I'm looking for an image, I can actually, on the right-hand side, and I'll show you how to do this, we'll actually build a Sway together at the ending of this session very quickly. I just click in the box. It'll actually ask me what sources I would like to. You can see here I've got the image of Flickr because that's one of the main ones that it searches from, and it automatically default goes for Creative Commons images. So you're modeling appropriate copyright use for students, and you're actually setting them up to be good users of copyright practice in their own sort of web design as well. So it's a good side lesson to be doing at the same time. Number 4, cool ways to display images. So you can bring in your own images that you have sorted at home. So you might have images on your desktop that you want to use. You might have images that you have made or sourced or whatever that might be. Or in this case, I've just got a whole stack of Australiana images that were copyright free from just from the image search function of Sway. And you can display them in 3 really simple ways. Obviously, you can just have a one single straight up image. But here I've got a collection. This comparison one on the left is got to be one of my favorite ways to display. And I could see in geography particularly that this would be incredibly useful. So this is called a comparison card, and it has a slider in the middle. And we can see here, you just slide over, and then I say, well, there you go. I can see Sydney Harbour Bridge and part of, man-made Australia, that built environments. And I could slide over the other way, and I see some natural environments. That's Kakadu National Park up in the Northern Territory, where my family are originally from. So I've got an image of where I live now, where my family originate from. Just here on a slider, we can have a comparison. This would be a great before and after. I can imagine this would be particularly powerful within for a geography sort of a lesson. Here we've got images of stackers. So that first one with the slider, that's called a comparison. Here I have a stack of images where literally all I have to do is click and I get a different image each time. So as many images as you would like. You can just, there's the pinnacles in Western Australia, as many images as you like, you can just have up there in the stacker. And here I've just got a grid, and you just insert you just pick a card and you say, I want to have a grid, and you just add the 4 images that you want. This is what I was saying here, embed a map, number 5. So here we've got my very favorite place. Anyone who comes to visit me, especially my overseas friends, I will often take them right in the middle of Sydney, right in the middle of the city here. My favorite place, the Chinese Garden of Friendship. It's around all of these high-rise buildings. It's absolutely stunning, and it's like this tiny little oasis. You think you're in the middle of a forest somewhere. You wouldn't know. The way that they've built it, you lose visual sight of all the high-rise buildings all around you. You can only see trees, and it's very, very quiet and peaceful. It's beautiful, but instead of just having a map sitting there, suddenly I've got something that's a little bit more interactive. And I'm assuming you can see me zooming out there and zooming in. Yeah, so we suddenly have an interactive map that I've just used an embed code, grabbed the iframe, and been able to do that. So suddenly, not only are our students very, very easily able to make a website, they're actually making it interactive. We've got interactivity with our images, now interactivity with our map. Here's my inception pedagogy. So I have put a report inside this presentation. Like I said, I've got a sway inside a sway for this sway. What I've done here is what Michael was sort of referencing before. We're here today as part of the Global EdTech Academy. This was just the standard. This was just the standard PowerPoint that they sort of sent me to set everything up. If you save that into your OneDrive, all you then need to do is get the embed code from your OneDrive. So you just right click or double click or get the share or however You do it wherever your cloud storage is. Doesn't really matter where you store it. For intensive purposes, I store this on my OneDrive. Got the embed code from my OneDrive. I just set up a card within Sway, click Media, click the embed, put the embed code in, and bang, it automatically makes a PowerPoint inside my Sway. So I've got this just sitting here, no problems. So if you think if we're having students actually developing their work, maybe one lesson could be make a PowerPoint on something. Lesson 2 could be, get your mapping and your locations and whatnot. And, they've got 3 or 4 or 5. They've got a couple of different things they do. And lesson 6 might be in Sway, put all of those features within the one place. So suddenly from a marketing perspective, you're only going to one place. They're housing this learning artifact with everything that they've learned in the last 4, 5, 6 lessons, all on the one spot. Very powerful, very useful. Accessibility. Now, I will have to demonstrate this when I hop out a little bit more, but if I just scroll down a little bit, so when you click the ellipse, I can only show you part of it because I'm in the view mode right now, but if you click the ellipse up here, I can go to accessibility view, and this will actually then display the Sway with the high contrast and with the keyboard functionality to let the screen reader work appropriately for those people who need those accessibility. When I'm actually in edit mode, that same button gives me accessibility checker and will remind me, hey, Brett, you haven't put alt text for this image. Hey, Brett, you haven't done this for that. So especially when we're delivering on an online platform, and of definite importance if we're delivering in an online platform where we are remote away from the students, so they can't just put their hand up and ask, but they're perhaps in another room or in another location, making sure we've got our accessibility correct means that all of our students are able to access the information as best as possible. That's really powerful and really important. Audio recording. Now, one thing I think we all know about students is that they appreciate how regular and how much we can have things set up as much as can be expected. We're going to be delivering in the near future in different ways, and as technology evolves, we're going to be able to deliver more and more online content. It's really, really simple in Sway to, again, just have a card, and you just click media. And again, I'll show you how to do this in a moment. A card, click media, and it has a little microphone, and you can actually automatically just record your voice giving instructions. So if you're a teacher setting up a Sway on, here are the list of activities I want you to do over the next hour, or a few hours, or a few lessons, or 2 weeks, or whatever it might be, if students actually hear your voice explaining to them the content, it's not just a written text, but they actually can go back and listen to you. What did Sir say again? What was Miss explaining during that? I think that's a very powerful way in which we can ensure that we've got some regular routine. We've got some that they hear a familiar voice. They hear how you like to explain things. Like this is the way they've gotten used to operating with you, and then they can go back over and play that multiple times. I think that's particularly useful. You can see here I've even made a short how-to video for you all on how to use Sway and how to make a Sway, and that's sitting up on my YouTube, and I embedded that in here as well. So you can have the audio descriptions, the audio recordings actually happen in Sway as you're making it. You just click the microphone and it will record, or I can just embed the media, and here I've got just a link straight out to my YouTube that I had that I wanted to share. I'll play this for a little bit so you can see. It will just work straight up normal like a G'day everybody, Brett Salakas here. I am going to share with you a how-to video on how to, because I had to use the one that I had already made because I hadn't actually made the sway yet. So you've just got that in there as an example. And tip number 9, device versatility, particularly if you're in a setting where you are unsure of what kind of devices your students are going to be using when they're at home, or if you're in the classroom and you have a great variety of different devices that students are using to interact with your content in. Sway is a very safe bet because it works the same on all of the, because it's cloud-based. It's as long as you've got internet access, all students will be able to engage with and experience and make their own, and it just has that security of functionality that if it's something that you have to, a program that you have to download might not always have compatibility on all devices, whereas with this, as long as you've got internet access, your sway is going to run. So there we go. Salakas.me/sway is a short link to this sway if you would like to keep it as a reference. And I have made like a 4-minute video of all of these 9 tips with just as salakas.me/sway video. If you want to go to either of those, that could be useful. What I intend to do now, we've got 25 minutes. I would like to, if there's any quick questions, we can take a couple of questions, and then we're actually going to build a sway together, and I can actually show you how to actually make. We'll physically make some stuff together live and have a little bit of fun with it, show you how easy it is. All right. Let me just unshare my screen for a moment. This should just kick in any second. Nope, it doesn't want to unshare. There we are. I'm back. All right. Let me just have a quick look. Has there been any questions in the chat, or does anyone have a question that they would like to ask? Oh, there's a few things in the chat. Michael, I can see you talking, but you're on mute at the moment.
Okay.
Oh, no, you gone back on mute again.
I'm even doing that.
There you go.
Okay, it's unmute now. Right, so I don't like doing that. Yeah, so there's some questions about what age groups are quite effective to use this for. So I know I use it for senior, but I'm not sure how low you can go.
Well, I'm a primary school teacher, so I've used Sway with grade 3, and I've used Sway extensively with grade 6. So you're probably looking about 9-year-olds. I've had no problem having them use Sway as a lesson, or and I've had them no problem with them actually making their own sways. I can see Paddy, you've asked, is it like Nearpod? Not quite, because it's more like a web page. It's like you're building a web page with a few interactivity. Dixie's here saying she's actually used it with kindy and first graders too. Just take them a little bit step by step. When I actually walk you through how to do it, and Miss Mackenzie, I'll show you how to put a PowerPoint in. You will freak out at how easy it is. It's the least complicated program that I'm aware of. So, Natasha, out for a walk. You've got a quick question, and then we'll show we'll do a little how to. We'll make it together.
Yeah, I was wondering how the compatibility with things like Flipgrid and everything to embed those was.
Yeah, so as long it can embed anything that you can get an embed code from. So anything that has an embed code, anything that you can get like that iframe, anything you can get an iframe from, you can actually insert. So it just opens up as long as you can get as long as it's like iframe friendly, and will actually give you an embed code. You can sub it in there. Oh, Natasha, you've just dropped on mute. Oh, lost her. That's okay. That's all right. So let's share my screen again, and let's sort of make one up.
While we're doing that, so Miss Mackenzie's also asked about embarrassed students sending codes, but they can send the codes just to you. The other students don't have to see it.
Yeah, that's actually yes, that's a very, very valid point. If for privacy, you don't want them, they can share it any way you want, because it's just a URL. They can email it to you as a personal email, or if you've got a learning management system set up, like if you're a lot of younger schools have like a Google Classroom, or if you've older class and you've got something like a Schoolbox or Canvas or whatever you might have, you might you can message it through any messaging service. Teams for sure. A lot of schools are using Teams. I've become quite attuned with Teams over the last few months. Anything that has a messaging service, you'll be able to send it. It literally is just sending text. In fact, look, let me demonstrate that now. I'll actually even send it. I'll send you this one in this chat within Teams. We'll show you how to do it in Teams. So I'll just share my screen now.
And Arlene, if I have prepared video lessons, can I also add them to the Sway? Yes, you can indeed. I embed lots of my YouTube lessons into the Sway as well. So
I'll show you how to do that. And that's where was it? No, a bit down a little bit. Yeah. So that's me here. I've got this YouTube. If you've already got YouTube or a Flipgrid or whatever you might have, you've got it in there. So if I want to share, if I've got mine, I want to share it with my teacher, and I don't want to put it on something that's there with everybody, I'm going to invite people to edit it so I can collaborate with another person if I want to partner up, or if I just want someone to look at my Sway, I just copy my image. I could get the embed code, but I'm just going to copy the image. If I want to embed it in anything, I'm just going to copy the image, and then I'm just going to come into our Teams chat here, and you should still be seeing the Teams chat. And I've got Jim and Michael up nice and big on my screen now. But look, any messaging, my internet, Teams within Teams going a little bit slower. Boom, link is in the chat. I should send it, and it's that easy. So it should pop up as a live link now within Stream. So any messaging service, so definitely obviously works within Teams. Teams is a really powerful platform to be working with your students. But any messaging, email, whatever you might happen to have as your preference, then you can work with. I'm going to jump now and build a brand new Sway from scratch so you can see some of these features. And I'm not going to be able to see the chat right now, so I might call out what you would like me to do, and we'll just go from that. So if I start new, I'm going to call this one my hashtag GETA, my Global EdTech Academy example. Might even call it a live example. So I can put in a background. I can add all sorts of stuff here. Now, what I get the chance to do here is add little cards. So I can either add a whole new card, or here just add I can add something that lives straight under this main card here as a cluster, or I can go over to my storyline and design. That's what it will look like right now. So I can change my style. I can have all different things here, whatever I want my one to look like. I might want it to look like this. For now, that will do me. Bang. Got my example. I'm going to go back to my storyline, and I'm just going to add in, I might add in some text. example. Now I could have, let's add an image. So if I want to add an image, I can go straight over here. I've got my image sources. For suggested, I can pick where I want. So Flickr, Bing, Picket, all have Creative Commons licenses. And it's a reminder here that you're responsible if things, including copyright, if I want to pick images from other sources. So if I want to go through, pick an image, this one looks lovely, and I'm just going to add that image. Okay, and I'll just say sunrise as my caption. Okay, so I'm here. I can play that and see what that looks like live now. And right now, instead of scrolling down, I've actually set this design as scrolling left to right. So I've got my GET example, and I can just keep going now. So let's add, what do we have? We had a request there for a YouTube. So if I wanted, I've got my embed code actually. Let me show you how we go with the embed code. So say I wanted a map. James, I think you said you were from California. So if I go over, well, you can see where I live now. I'll go over in California. I'm going to look for a particular place. Sacramento will do me. If I want to share this, I need to embed a map. I need to just get the iframe. So I've got my iframe up here. Just need to copy my iframe, copy this embed code, and I'm going to come back to my sway. I'm just going to paste my embed code here. So I'm just going to paste in my embed code, hop out of it, and now I have an embedded card. So I've got a card here. I've got my title card. I've got my text card. I've got an image card. Now I have an embed card. I think we also had a question if I can put in, I'm going to do the same thing for YouTube. I can see what my boys have been watching lately on my account once it comes in. I'm sure it's going to be lots of Fortnite stuff. Oh, there you go. The odd one's out. That's a good fun. Alrighty, you can tell I don't use my YouTube often enough. Share. I'll get the embed code from here. So I'll just pick up the iframe when it comes, and I can embed YouTube within it. I think we had a quick question as well about PowerPoint. So same thing. Just need to get the embed. So copy my embed code. Boom. I'm just going to go down here. So I'm adding another card again. I've got my options for my regular ones. I've got my text cards. I've got media cards, or if I want to make a group or something. There's a comparison with the slider that I really like. Slideshows, grids, whatever you want. I'm just going to put in my embed there. Boom. And that's done. So again, if I want to see it as an example, I've got my GT live example. Slide over here. And now I've got my sunrise. I've got my interactive map. I've got my embedded video, etc., etc. And I can just keep on going. You know what? I did want to show you how easy it was to put in audio as well. So I'll do that. And now go up to my edit. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go to my media, and I'm going to go to audio media. And literally, I just have a record button right there. So if I just click my record button, I can start recording straight away, and it will record my voice. I'm talking. I'll stop it. I can check over it. I can re-record if I want, or I can just add it to my sway. And now the students will have a copy of my voice in there as well. So you could imagine if you had a couple of key images, even if you're doing different languages, you could have an image there with a student adding on their verbal description of what they see. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment and ask, are there any other questions that maybe have surfaced in the chat whilst I've been talking, and or anything that anyone would like to ask? We've got about just under 10 minutes to go now, so this would be a really good time just to have a bit of a question. Can you unpublish a sway? Well, it's just a live link, so you can delete your sway. I'm not sure if once you've shared a link to it, if you can unshare that link so that person can't.
That's what I was thinking. I don't think you can, but you can just copy your original sway, I'd assume, and then that would have its own link.
Yeah,
the original.
I think you might be right there. So if you had one that was used for, say, a particular class, and you didn't want the next batch of students to already have something maybe that you had fleshed out, you could just, exactly that. You could just copy that sway, make a brand new sway, delete the old one. You've got a copy of the new one. It would have a different. How easy to convert from PowerPoint? All right, Miss Mackenzie, I'm going to make a brand new one. I can do it in under. I can do it in under 60 seconds. And you know what? I'm going to freak you out of how crazy easy it is. So I will share my screen again. It's going to take me longer to share my screen than it will be to make a sway out of a PowerPoint. So I'm going to share my screen again. This is what I mean. It's just so insanely easy that we just it's a real secret weapon for teachers. The benefit, the winning factor of this is that it just doesn't have. It's just so simple. It just doesn't take a lot of time to make the sway. So if I'll go right from the beginning, and I'll start a new sway. And again, I'm just going to start from a document. Now remember, so there's two options here. I could embed my sway like I did for my example one. So I've just got my I could embed my PowerPoint that I have done in my sway. So I put my PowerPoint saved into my OneDrive. So you need to have it in that cloud storage. So I could have my PowerPoint in my OneDrive, and I just get the embed code from that, or I could just make a sway straight from a PowerPoint that's on my desktop. So I just go start from a document, and Digital Escape Rooms is a PowerPoint that I've set up for this GET. I did it about a week ago, and I think Dr. Michael Harvey was in on that session as well. You're a loyal friend, my brother. Thank you. So if I just click on that, and so I just literally just click on the PowerPoint that I want, I'll open it up. It'll only take 20 seconds to process it, and it will pick up my slides and convert it into a sway, and then I will actually have like a website version of my PowerPoint presentation. Just give it a moment. Like I said, it'll be less than a minute. Guaranteed, Miss Mackenzie, guaranteed. Here we go, boom, boom, boom. I would obviously have the options. You see here I've got the clusters and then the individual cards set up. There's going to be a lot of ice cream references in this. It will make sense if you actually were part of that that presentation. But if I go here, now it's made a sway. It's actually designed it for me. Digital Escape Rooms as a guide. It's taken out my PowerPoint. and just made it as a sway. Different slides. Digital tools allow learning to be more like Ben and Jerry's. They're memorable, creative, personalized, and experience, fun, engaging. I had a couple of animated GIFs. Look at that. It's even put the animated GIF in. Nothing like a Ben and Jerry's reference to talk about pedagogy. But yeah, then I've got literally convert from a PowerPoint into a sway, and then I can just share the sway link. All right. Any other questions? Can I add an edible graphic organizer? Patty, what can you just clarify for me? What exactly do you mean? What sort of thing do you mean precisely by graphic organizer? Do you mind jumping on or just taking off your mute button and explaining to us? Oh, can you hear me, Patty? Oh, students can write in doc. Oh, so you can edit. So you can have co-collaborators on this. You could have. I could work with you, and I can actually have my sway set up, and then maybe I've done a few different images, and I want the images to be described underneath. Add in your description of this. If I'm doing an information report on kangaroo's diet, maybe I've got an image of a kangaroo eating something, and I've particularly requested that you put in some text about that, if that's what you mean. Students could do that. So you can co-author a sway. That's a definite question. That's a definite possibility. If that's what you mean, definitely can co-author and collaborate on the document. Any other questions? We've got about 2 or 3 minutes left, so we're a little bit tight on time. This has been really fun. Sway is one of those tools where it literally is. You can pick it up and run with it. If you learn how to use it, you see what it is. You can make one almost instantly.
Is there any way you can show that document where you can write on it?
Show which document that I could write?
You said like if you give them information, they could fill up a document. Can you show that?
Yeah. So
how it would look?
Yeah, no problem. So it's a card. So what you do is you would have a text card. Let me show that.
It's just for distance learning. I'm teaching classes on Zoom, so then the kids that are absent, they could still do it on their own. Yeah,
for sure. So they would more than likely, I would imagine, you would more than likely have students maybe you're going to pair them up, partner them up, or put them in a group of 3, and maybe they could collaborate on this and make one. So I could have, for example, let's say I've got something here, and I look for whatever you might be doing. So you're reaching. I'm trying to think of an American animal. I keep thinking of koalas and kangaroos or something there. I picked up that your accent was American. Mountain lion. That's an American animal, isn't it?
Yes.
Mountain lion. Okay, so I've got mountain lion. I'm going to add in mountain lion. And then I'm going to maybe have a heading here, and I might say habitat of a mountain lion. Habitat of a mountain lion. And then I might have attached underneath this, I'm just going to have a plain text. And I might say, I'm away from my screen, but I think that's Pam asking me this question, is it?
Patty.
Patty, add paragraph here. I hope the spell would be good. And when I share this with you, I will share with you, if I was going to share it with you, Patty, I would get the edit button and I'll share you the editing the editing link, and you'd be able to come in and you'd be able to edit all the sections that I've sort of left specifically for my students to edit. And if you have a look at that when that's live now, got this gorgeous image here, and I've got habitat of a mountain lion, and right next to it, nice big section for you to flesh out description of the habitat.
Yeah, so you're scaffolding them basically with tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, you're scaffolding.
That's great. Can you build a table in there? That's what I mean by a graphic organizer.
Table?
Yeah, like a graphic organizer where kids can write things in different boxes, like evidence.
So, I mean, one of the things I had up here, I mean, I did have a table, and then I just just embedded the image of the table of the information.
Oh, okay.
Could do something as easy as that, and then it's just you just put the image in. I don't know that you can set up tables of text boxes.
Yeah.
But when you're building it, what you kind of do, you set up these series of cards.
Yeah.
It's like you set up a series of cards. So every time you go to add something, you just add like a new card.
Oh, okay.
That'll work. Yeah.
Yes, I can see where you're coming from now. Yeah, so you're basically trying to scaffold them to organize their information on that particular sway.
That later on will become a paragraph or an essay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, right.
So they're basically creating it, but you're giving little guidelines of how to. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, yeah, that would make sense. You know what? You could actually then personalize things. That's actually a pretty good open door to personalizing something, because if you had students who were operating, if you were doing like essay practice, essay writing, if they were going for a particular topic, knowing their strengths or weaknesses or whatever that student particularly wanted to work on, but you could have the section and you could just have a little bit of advice sort of sitting in here. Remember when you do this paragraph, could you add, emotive language or whatever it is that you want them to add in? So you could actually tailor something for them there and make it a little bit personalized. That's actually a really cool idea. Thanks, Patty. That's wicked thinking. And that's what I like about this tool, is that it takes away from you have to design, and it's more about the pedagogy. It's more about the learning and less about, hey, let's spend, because kids love to make things look awesome. We as adults like to make things look awesome, and what Sway does is it makes the design element so minute and so short and sharp that you can spend more of your time on that quality teaching and learning. Look, our time has come to a conclusion, but it doesn't mean the learning needs to stop. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm really crazy passionate about sharing and certainly crazy passionate about my love of education. If you want to reach out to me at all and continue and ask questions, and definitely if you want to try something out and get a second opinion, or I would love to see your test runs. If you do a little bit of a beta test after this and make a sway, on Twitter, I'm just at Mr. Salakas. So certainly send me something or just reach out. I'm happy to lend a hand, or if you've got a late question that you want to ask, please feel free. Like I really appreciate you joining me today, and I really appreciate you guys being a great online class. And I hope that you will leave this session knowing a few things that perhaps you didn't know previously when we started, and more to the point, I like that old Ford Motor Cars saying. Ford used to have that saying about you win the race on Sunday, sell the car on Monday. And I think I like my sessions to be, learn about something on the weekend, put it into your classroom that week. So Sway is one of those tools. You can learn it. It's that easy to pick up. You can start making lessons with it, like almost as soon as we end this session. So thanks so much for being wonderful. All right. I'm just stopping the recording now.